Hi guys, welcome back. This time around I'm bringing you the PENON Voltage. This is PENON's latest flagship, a flagship Tribrid by the way, because there is the Impact, which is a BA and EST set, and that's their flagship. That's $2,500. But this is their flagship Tribrid, priced at around $1,200, $1,199 to be more precise. Obviously I bought this from PENON. I did get a small discount for it, so disclaimer on that, but it's not that discount that is gonna impede me from being honest and straightforward and sincere like I always am. Anyway, as I was saying, this is to a certain extent you could consider this to be the successor of the Volt, which was and is one of my favorite IEMs. That was their previous, let's say, better Tribrid that they had. And this time around, and following PENON's more recent trend of having adjusted their tuning slightly without still losing sight of the typical PENON characteristics of great mids, great bass, great musicality, they give us the voltage. Anyway, it's a 10 driver IEM per side. It's got 4 SONION BAs, 2 handling the mids, 2 handling the highs, 4 SONION ESTs, and 2 dynamic drivers in a clamshell semi-isobaric configuration, if you want to call it that way. Those drivers are 8mm, by the way. Anyway, as usual, PENON, in terms of the package, it's simple, straightforward. It's not those crazy fancy packages where no, it's very simple, very straightforward, and actually sometimes quite refreshing when you see some of the packages that are done, which make no point. But anyway, that's just a little side note. Open up the box. Obviously inside there came the case. You had this case as well, loads of tips, no problem, cleaning tool. I mean, everything is here. That's it. I mean, you can't really complain in terms of accessories. PENON never really disappoints in that aspect. In terms of overall characteristics, they talk about the PENON having a frequency response of 5 to 70 kilohertz, 5 hertz to 70 kilohertz. Excuse me. 106 decibel sensitivity and 13 ohm impedance. What I will say is that it is a relatively easy IEM to drive, although yes, you do need a source that can handle low impedances well, and not lose its stability. Let's put it that way. Okay. As for the IEM, beautiful resin shell. Red or ruby red, if you want to call it. You can see inside how everything is. Very nice faceplate. The design always very nice. I would have liked that the fonts used on the actual faceplate would have been a little bit more. I mean, they don't offend me. I'm not gonna say that I dislike them, but I think it needed a little extra touch of class to give it that $1,200 kind of overall finishing touch. It's got these switches, as you can see, which affect the bass and the treble, so you can either make the voltage be ultra neutral, if you want to put it that way, or then be a neutral warm, where you boost slightly the bass and you boost slightly the mids, the highs, my apologies. That's how I have it. I have it in the 1-1 setting. I like the sound that I get with that extra boost in the bass and that extra boost in the treble. Not that the neutral setting I dislike it, but where I felt that it really came alive and it really showed justice and it made justice to the music that I like listening to was once the switches were put up. It's using an obsidian cable from PENON. Nice cable, doesn't tangle, easy. I mean, I tried a few other cables. I tried where is it now? Yes, I tried this cable that I actually have it here. This is a cable that I got recently from IVPIQ. I tried this cable on it as well to see how it how it worked, and they worked. I mean, it worked fine as well. So no need to cable let's say cable swap or anything of the sort. I mean, the cable is more than up to the job of doing what it's supposed to be doing. Tips, I'm using the stock tips as well. Again, these tips, I like them. I've always liked them. I use them in a lot of my other IEMs. They just work well with me and with my ears. So fit, I mean, considering it's a 10 driver IEM, it's not a big IEM. It's not very heavy, easy as well. So it actually fits easily and stays nicely in the ears. I've got no complaints there. It's when it comes to the physical part of things, the Voltage ticks all the right boxes for me. It's well built. It's got a beautiful shell. It looks good. Looks the part. Fits nicely. Good cable. Good accessories. Case. We already know how it is. It brings. By the way, it brings these little pouches, which you can actually put the IEMs inside it to give them a little bit of extra protection, which is a nice touch. So there's really nothing that I can let's say criticize in that aspect, because it's faultless. It's perfect. Now let's talk about the sound, which is what we wanna know. The Voltage follows this trend that PENON, ISN, and Intensio Mirai have been having lately, where they've slightly readjusted their tuning style to, let's say, be more in accordance to what is the more common tuning nowadays. But they've done it as usual in a PENON way, which means that they haven't lost sight of what is their house sound, and their house sound is always a house sound which centers itself around having great mids. And the mids on the Voltage, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, the mids on the Voltage are sublime. End of story. Absolutely perfect. Male vocals, female vocals, the timbre, the tonality, instruments, string, wind, everything comes across, cymbals, everything just comes across the way that, in my opinion, should sound like. And that's, I think, a characteristic that most people will agree with, because you listen to the Voltage, and if I took my time to actually review it, because I've had it now for a couple of weeks, it's because I wanted to also let it burn in a little bit and let me get used to it, do a little bit of brain burn as well, let's put it that way. But if there's one thing that from the first listen, albeit now that I'm listening to it with over 100 hours already of playing time, is the mids and the bass are amazing. But the mids are the first thing that really jump out. The clarity of the mids and how then they are complemented by the bass and the highs is just top notch, and probably some of the best that I've heard out of all the IEMs that I've heard. So in terms of the mids, there's there's you can't really fault anything in the mids, in my opinion. I can't, and I will be hard pressed to find anybody that can truly find something negative about the mids. Okay. Concerning the bass, once again, the implementation of the two biofilm diaphragm drivers has been flawlessly done. You have either the very understated, very kind of neutralish presentation if you have it in the off switch, in the off position of the bass switch, or then when you do put it up, which just boosts it slightly, you get that extra thump, that extra energy, that extra warmth to the bass notes, which never interferes with the mids. It never overpowers the mids, and it just complements it so nicely, and even at times actually surprises me at how can I say, how atmospheric the bass can feel. It surrounds you. You feel the bass coming from everywhere, and that's a token of, in my opinion at least, a very well tuned bass. So bass, really well done. Nothing again that can be said there. It's not a bass head IEM, but it will satisfy bass heads, in my opinion. It will, definitely. And then the highs. Again, nothing, in my opinion, can be faulted. No sibilance, no harshness, no unnecessary coloring that emphasizes any part of that spectrum of the higher frequencies of the upper mids and the treble. The marriage between the four BAs and the four ESTs has been done flawlessly. There's a coherency which is a true testament once again of a well-designed and well-tuned IEM. These are the things that you expect from an IEM that crosses that $1,000 threshold. Well, to be honest, at every threshold of price, you start expecting certain things, and you start wanting those things to be better and better. And obviously, then at least I do that. My margin of giving some slack if those things are not met becomes shorter and shorter. So if I'm listening to a $100 IEM, I give it a more slack in terms of its performance that I will if I'm listening to a $1,000 IEM. And to that extent, when we're talking about the voltage, be it the bass, be it the mids, be it the highs, it meets what I feel are the criterion, for an IEM of $1,000. And I think, touching now just briefly on the price, I think that in that aspect, PENON was smart in the way they priced the voltage. PENON is a brand that obviously has let's say a niche market. It's not a brand that everybody appreciates for whatever reason. It's a brand that I personally like, and I've basically got all the models. I think one of the few models that I don't have is the Impact because of the price. So I like the PENON sound. I like the PENON style of doing things. I like ISN audio. I like their sound, their style of doing things. I like Tension Mirai as well. But PENON and ISN definitely are my favorite. And, they could have easily have priced the voltage more expensive. But I think they would have run into the mistake which some other brands have run recently, one of them being the Yanyin, the Moonlight Ultra, where the market has become so competitive, and you have got sub $1,000 becoming so good that you have to be very smart in how you price your IEM, because you run the risk of pricing it a value that you have a cheaper IEM that will not only sound good but totally destroy it. And we've seen that countless times. I mean, recently with the launch of the Simgot, the Super Mix 4, we have an IEM priced at under $200 that is an absolute beast. And in that price range specifically, you have a lot of IEMs currently which are very, very good. The Jazeer, the 61T, which I'll be reviewing soon. And I'm not even going to mention the older ones which have come out earlier, but the Jazeer, the Simgot, at just over $200, you start getting the likes of the Da Vinci, well, closer to 300 to be honest, but you start getting the likes of the Da Vinci. You get then the EM10. So you have IEMs under that $500 price bracket, but especially at around $200, which are really, really good, and are challenging IEMs which are way more expensive. So when they price this at $1,200, I would say, and obviously, of course, unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to listen to a lot of the, let's say, the market favorites at $1,000, the Monarch, the Oracle, the Jupiter. I haven't been able to listen to those IEMs, but I can very confidently say that this will easily keep up with those IEMs. If it beats them or doesn't beat them, that's a different story because I haven't listened to it. But that it will be able to keep up with them and show them a good run for their money, I am totally positive about that. So I would say that to a certain extent that the voltage is kind of a $1,000 give or take disruptor to a certain point, because it really is that good in what it sounds like. And to that extent, that's why I've chosen the specific IEMs that I've chosen. Yeah, I've chosen the EM10, I've chosen the Hisenior Mega 5 EST, the Mark III version. Yes, I will be doing a review and I will be explaining that there are 3 versions of this IEM. The Volt, the Moonlight Ultra, and the one of my favorite IEMs as well, the Kinera, the Loki. And they are here not so much for, like I've been trying to do lately, not so much to kind of say, okay, this is better than that, it's better than this, not, but to position the voltage and for you guys to really understand how good and how capable the voltage is. But just going back a second to finish up on the aspects of what the sound is like. So mids, like I said, are perfect, you know, from note weight to the way that they, you know, the sound in terms of timbre and tonality, female vocal, that bass, again, same thing, nothing to be said there. The treble, amazing coherence with the way it's been, the drivers have been matched. And then technicalities, again, in my opinion, true flagship technicalities: soundstage, imaging, macro and micro resolution. All of them are more than adequate for the price. They are what I was expecting. Especially, like I said, that ability to convey this sense of atmosphere. Okay, it is really, it's really impressive. Let's put it that way. It's really impressive. Okay, so what did I listen to? Well, most of my listening of the voltage was done with my Q15. I found that the Q15 kind of made a good match here for the voltage, so it made sense for me. I then took out the EM10 as well from Simgot, priced at around $400. The EST, like I mentioned, priced at about $525 more or less. The Volt, which is about $800. The Moonlight Ultra, which is about the same, $1,200 something dollars, and the Loki at $3,000. How does then this compare to them? Out of all, they all are, well, that's actually a quadrid, but all of them are tribrids except for the EM, which is a hybrid. It's only got BAs and DD, so it has traded the ESTs for more BAs. We have a lot more BAs there to try and then obtain the same sense of upper mids and treble and detail and resolution that we get when we are using ESTs. So how can I then kind of position them? The thing that's very evident when you listen to the EM10 and you go into the voltage, it doesn't matter if you start there, if you come here, or if you come here, you go there, is straight away in terms of the volume setting. There's a significant it's significantly harder to drive the EM10 than it is the voltage. So the same volume at the same setting in terms of volume of my Q15, I get this plays significantly louder. Now in terms of cleanliness, it's not so much in the bass, because the EM10 has got an amazing bass, that's the reality. It's not so much in the bass where you see the difference. There is a difference, yes, but it's not so much there. At most, let's say, equivalent volume levels of sound, you know, you won't, it's not there. When you start pushing it a little bit more, yes, then you start seeing that this takes the edge, but it's not in the bass where you see the difference. Where you see the difference is in the mids and in the highs. And not wanting to in any way detract anything away from the EM10. Nothing. The EM10 is phenomenal. Let me make that perfectly clear. The mids of the voltage are just that extra bit more clean, that extra more elegant, that extra more, I mean, how can I explain this so you guys can understand? Let's take, for example, Voyage, Voyage from Desireless. It's an old song from the 80s. You listen to one and the other, they both do an amazing job. This just gives it that extra ambience that just makes it sound nicer. It's a difficult one to put my finger in it. Honestly, it's really hard. Let's take Mr. Shah from Acoustic Alchemy. This is a perfect song for you to see how detailed and how clean this can be. Not that isn't, but just this adds just that little extra amount of twinklies and sparklies. That just, you know, it's you have to honestly, you have to be able to experience it. It's like I said, it's very, very difficult to explain. Fields of Gold from Dominic Miller. Again, another song that sounds amazing on both, but this has got that little extra, little bit more cleanliness, a little extra more detail. Now you may question, hey, but Tony, I mean, come on, that's 400, this is 1200. Does it justify 3 times the price? Well, I'm going to reply in this manner. Only one can decide upon one's wallet, what they want to spend, what they don't want to spend. And I'll put it to you this way. If you have an EM10 and you want to make a solid upgrade on the EM10, that won't disappoint you and will bring or will carry on what the EM10 is capable and take it that step forward, definitely the Voltage is a very solid alternative. Very, very, very solid. I'll put it to you that way. Okay. Let me see another song where oh yes, Timbo Ho. This is a Vietnamese song. Again, another song where the EM10 does it very well. I mean, actually, any one of these IEMs plays that song phenomenally well. The Voltage just gives it that extra atmosphere, and I think that's the most impressive thing about the Voltage is exactly that. It's how it, because of the way the mids are done, because of the way that then the bass and the highs then marry with those mids and create this overall atmospheric feeling. It just sounds very, very upscale. It sounds like you really are listening to a very, very good pair of home speakers and home amplifiers and so on. I mean, for example, let me put it to you this way. On the Volt, you listen to that song, and you definitely get the vibe that you're listening to an old school type of sound, an old speaker with an old amplifier. You get that, and it sounds amazing. Trust me, the Volt sounds amazing. It's one of my favorite IEMs for a specific reason. Why? Because, like I say many times, the design premise, what they were set out to, or what they proposed themselves to do in terms of the sound tuning, have they done it? Yes. Can be V-shaped, neutral, bright, can be whatever. If it's been done properly, I will give it a thumbs up. And that there does it. The Volt does it exquisitely well. But you listen to it on the Voltage, and I don't think there will be anybody, honestly, I don't think there will be anybody that will say, no, I prefer it on the Volt, because it just is that little extra better. That atmosphere that it creates. And I think it comes down to very much the way that the ESTs have been implemented here. The ESTs on the Volt, you could feel them, you knew that they were there, but I always felt that they was maybe somehow a little bit too subdued, a little bit too laid back. And here they have got that extra amount of energy for you to definitely feel that they are there, but not feel that they are disjointed or separate from the BAs or from the dynamic drivers. So it comes across as one full range driver. Okay. Let's see here another song that can also help me give you guys an idea of how good I think this Voltage is. Oh well, Unconditional from Soul Persona, again a song that I listen quite often to. House of Groove from Eugene Groove, Elephant from Carol Duboc. Everything it just, I mean, especially like Elephant from Carol Duboc, that drum in the beginning of the song, it just has that thump, which is, it's got that perfect weight. You know, it's not too much, not too little. It's just that perfect weight. And when you raise the volume, it keeps that there and becomes just that extra little bit more authoritative, but the mids and the highs keep up with it. So it's honestly, it is really good. You know, it's really good. It's like I said in my previous reviews, you know, it's not easy being a reviewer. It's not easy because you guys expect us to say, oh no, this one now is not that. No, and the truth is, the level of IEMs has become extremely high, especially in the lower prices where things are very competitive. And you know, when we're talking over $1,000, I will be very demanding, because if I can buy something for half the price, which is going to sound the same, then why am I going to spend more money? And that's where I think the Voltage has hit the nail right on the head, because yes, it is $1,200, but it is worth that money. Okay, it's worth that money. Okay, Now, compared to the EST, that look, let me say this to you this way: these two sound very, very similar, very similar. Where this edges out the EST is in the mids. In the bass, it's, you know, it's basically the same. In the highs as well, this is sometimes better, that is sometimes better. In the mids is where this shines over the EST, and the EST is without question the best Hisenior IEM, and for me one of the references at around $500-600, no question about it. Okay. Again, the question of price arises. If they sound so good, is it worth to upgrade? Perhaps, yeah, I would say that the upgrade has to be done more cautiously, and you would have to really listen to one and the other with more time to then come to that decision. While with the EM10, that jump is easier to be done, or that decision is easier to be done. With regards to the EST, I would say you have to listen very carefully to the EST and listen to the voltage, because they are really, really, really good. And so, you know, it's your wallet that will dictate, do I want to spend the twice the money without being sure that I'm going to get twice the performance? Okay, because look, there's always the law of diminishing returns. You know, it's not linear. It's not you spend more money and you get better sound. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, compared to the Volt, this is a hard one for me, because I would say personally, myself, I would say, however much I love the Volt, and I think the Volt is amazing and it sounds really good, I found the Voltage to just be capable of giving me certain music, especially like reggae. Okay, especially reggae. It just gave it that little extra bit of energy, and let's say pizzazz, if that's the best word to use, that the Volt is not capable of doing by nature of the way that it's been tuned. That's all. It's not because it's been badly tuned, no. By the way that it's been tuned to be very neutral, very old school, very organic. It's honestly, you know, that there is like if you were listening to a really old school speaker that has highs, has upper mids and highs in the right amount, but is not overly extended to the point where it gets aggressive or anything, but it has it there. This has all the highs in the world that you need, all the upper mids in the world that you need, but it doesn't get to the point where it's over aggressive. But that extra energy that you get, maybe because I'm becoming deaf, it just makes those songs that I like listening to sound that little bit more pleasurable. Not saying by that oh no, I'm not gonna have that same pleasure if I will, but this is just a little bit better. That's the reality. Okay, compared to the Ultra, and the Ultra is and again, not wanting to take away anything from the Ultra, because the Ultra is in its right a very good IM. The Ultra suffered only from one problem, in my opinion. I've said it many times, and I'll say it as many times as it's needed. The Ultra has the Canon 2 as its younger brother, where that costs $400, not even, and that costs $1,300 almost. And that doesn't justify the increasing price over its own brother. Okay, why? Because that is supposed to be the upgrade by the addition of 2 extra ESTs to the original Moonlight, which was a $600 IM. So if that had been priced at $700, $750, $800 tops, I would say amazing, and it would completely change the dynamics of how I compare the Ultra to the Voltage. However, it costs the same thing as the Voltage. And when you listen to one and the other, yes, the bass down there is very good, very, very good. But then in the mids where you see that it's not that it just edges it out. No, it edges it out. There's a big, significant, audible difference in the quality of the mids here and in the quality of the mids there. Very big. If you listen to it on its own, you say, no, wow, amazing, really good, fantastic, nice. When you see the price tag, you start saying, okay, all right, for that price, I was expecting more. And that's the reality, because the Canon will do not wanting again to sound like I'm being mean, but the Canon 2 will be probably about 90 to 95%, maybe 95% of the Ultra's performance. So why would you spend 3 times the money? Okay, and here at the same price, there's just no contest. And then in terms of the ESTs, they are well executed there, but they just become a little bit unpolished at higher volumes, something that here never happens. Granted, I did notice that the Ultra is one of the few IEMs where a cable swap did actually make an audible difference. You know, you guys know that cables are always something that I try to not touch too much on it because I don't want to offend people about it. But the truth is this: if a cable, as long as a cable meets certain criteria in terms of its characteristics, which I feel are important, and that doesn't mean that cable must cost $1,000, no, because that cable there from that's an XINHS. That cable is actually relatively accessible. I think it's about $90, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not that you have to spend a ton of money on a cable, but if it meets the certain electric characteristics, and those electric characteristics match and combine with the electric characteristics of an IEM in a specific manner to extract the best performance out of the IEM, you will notice a difference in the sound quality. And the Ultra, from its stock cable, which granted they thought that was the best cable, to this cable, the difference is audible. It's noticeable. It sounds much better with this cable. Okay, but still, all those things taken into account, it's not enough for the voltage. The voltage is a better IEM. And then finally, compared to the Loki, and again, you know, with the Loki, we have kind of the same situation as we have with the EM10 and more so with the Mega 5 EST Mark III, which is, yes, a brutally amazing IEM in my opinion, but it's $3,500. Does it have enough to justify that price? Again, only you can say, only you can, you know, it's your money. You guys have to decide that. But when I compare it sonically with the voltage, I get the same sort of difference that I get here. Okay. Overall, and taking price into account, I feel that this is capable of doing very much what the Loki is capable of doing at basically a third of the price. And that's, you know, that's I think that basically sums it up. Yes, the bass on there is phenomenal. It's a 6mm driver that plays like no other 6mm driver that I've heard up to now. That bone conduction, it's doing its job. In terms of technical capabilities, in terms of it being, it is unquestionably the most technical IEM out of all of these, even more than the voltage, unquestionably. But the voltage is, I would say, the one that brings together technical capabilities, musicality, fun factor in the most balanced manner. Okay, there are IEMs here which are more fun, IEMs here which are more technical. This is the, you know, more fun. It's very fun, engaging, so, but then it loses out slightly in its musicality, because it can get a little bit unpolished with certain genres. This, to a certain extent, the same situation. It's very organic, very musical, but it loses out in its technical capabilities. This, very well balanced out as well. I think its weakest aspect will probably be its technical capabilities ever so slightly. This, again, very capable across everything. Probably the weakest aspect here will be the technical capabilities as well. It just, you know, a little bit more polish for it to just shine 100%. The Loki, technically phenomenal, but maybe not the most musical, because it sometimes can be perceived as being a little bit overcolored, you know, a little bit. This one brings those three aspects together very nicely. It's very musical across a wide range of genres, highly capable in terms of its technicalities, and it's just fun. You know, I mean, listen to something like Cold Rock and Party from MC Light. it sounds amazing. But you take it the complete opposite way, and you go listen to In a Sentimental Mood from Cecil Norby, and it sounds amazing as well. It sounds good. So you can't you can't criticize it, because you know, if it does a wide range of music well, then it's competent in that aspect, and that's where it starts ticking boxes. Anyway, guys, I'll show you now the graphs, and we'll wrap it up. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section here for the PENON Voltage. Okay, so this first graph that I'm showing you is the PENON Voltage in the 00 setting, which is a setting where there isn't that little extra amount of bass boost, and there isn't the boost as well in the upper mids and treble. And as you can see, this is really neutral. I mean, we're talking about a bass gain of roughly 4 or 5 dBs. So let me see, 84, 84 dBs, and a pinna gain of 5 dBs. So this is as neutral as can possibly be. And just for you guys to see how neutral it is, this is the graph of the volt. Okay, and that again is really, I mean, that's it. We're talking about, once again, 4, 5. So it's that they are basically, I mean, the voltage in the 00 setting and the volt in the way that it's tuned, they are graphically, they are very similar. However, and which is the case oftentimes, sonically they are different. There is traits of that PENON signature with regards to how the mids are done. But you look at the graph and you would say, okay, the volt, the red line here, is going to have a little bit more bass, but no, the reality is the bass of the voltage is better, even in this setting. It's more present, it's more there. Besides being quicker, which is one of the other things which I forgot to mention, you notice that the bass of the voltage is always a little bit quicker, more incisive in its hits than the bass of the volt. And you would also think that the upper mids and treble, they would basically be the same thing. And again, no, the voltage definitely is more energetic, more present. There's more energy there. Okay, now comparing, let me just take away the volt and put the voltage in the 1-1 setting. It boosts the bass by a little bit, so we get a boost in the bass of roughly almost 3 dBs, and we get the boost here in the presence area just of, again, 2 dBs, a little bit across here. But this little change here and this little change here is enough for you to notice a very large is not the word, but it's very evident that there's been an increase in the overall atmospheric feeling of the way the IEM sounds, and how it's more involving. It just sounds, look, it sounds the way I like it. Let's leave it at that. Okay, if I now compare that setting with the volt, the similarities are even greater, but the difference sonically is very noticeable. Again, I don't want to detract anything away from the volt. I stand by what I said about it. I absolutely adore the volt. I think the volt is a really good IEM, but one is very noticeably a very old school type of sound, very organic, very old school. Like I said earlier, kind of vintage speaker and so on. Then the voltage is that old school type of sound, that organic type of sound, but given a touch of modernity, where you get that little extra amount of treble and upper mids done in just the right amount for it to be more present, more there, and confer the mids and the bass that extra amount of clarity, detail that it's needed. Also, obviously, I would assume that this difference that exists very much on the bass is down to the quality of the drivers being used in the bass being better. I believe the Volt also used SONION BAs and ESTs, so I don't think it's so much there that the improvement has been done quality-wise, but the quality of the bass drivers of the voltage is definitely superior to the voltage. Okay, so that's that. Now the next one I'm going to show you is let me just show you the Loki straight away and get the Loki out of the way. Okay, so that's the Loki. Now, let's keep in mind the following things. Loki obviously is a 6mm driver. The other one is a dual 8. It's not that the Loki's got more bass. No, it's got a very good bass, but the bass and mid bass on the Voltage are just more complete overall. That they sound more balanced in my opinion, and also that is down to the fact that then the disparity between the bass frequencies in the Loki and then the way that the mids and upper mids and treble are done is more noticeable, okay, let's put it that way, than in the Voltage, where everything sounds that little extra bit more coherent. Okay, now does that mean that the Loki is inferior or anything? No, it's just the way that the Loki's been tuned. For what is there, it sounds unbelievably good, and in terms of its technical capabilities, it's really good. Trust me, really good. Okay, compared, so that's that one out of the way. Let's get the Moonlight. Oops, I forgot to get you the Moonlight. The Moonlight Ultra. My apologies, guys. Moonlight, Yanyin, Moonlight Ultra. Yanyin, Moonlight Ultra. Yanyin, Moonlight Ultra. Yanyin, Moonlight Ultra. I have to take away here one of these measurements because it's all filled up. Okay, there we go. The purple line, that's the graph of the Moonlight. Actually, let me just change the color here so we see it better. Let's make it red. Okay, so that's the Moonlight Ultra, again in the setting that I like, which is the 1-1 setting. Now, it's not in terms of the bass where the problem lies, no, it's just in the way that, although graphically you wouldn't think that, but in the way that the mids and the upper mids and treble are done. The mids, again, graphically they look almost identical, but they just do not have the polish of the mids of the Voltage. And this is not a criticism to the Ultra, please, it isn't, because it sounds good. It really does. It sounds very good. But like I said earlier, when you compare two $1,200 IEMs to each other, and you listen to the mids of the one and you listen to the mids of the other, and you can feel that the mids of the Voltage are better, then it's because they are better. And that improvement is done to, I think, better coherence matching of the drivers and a better ability to scale on the part of the Voltage as opposed to the Ultra. In terms of the ESTs on the Ultra work really well at lower volumes. When you start pushing the volume, it's where things just, it's not that it becomes harsh or aggressive or unpleasant, no, but it just isn't as sweet and just elegant. Okay, I apologize if I sometimes have a bit of difficulty in finding the right words. It's just not as sweet, as elegant done as in the Voltage. Okay, so that's the Moonlight there. I've shown you the Loki, I've shown you the Volt. I need to show you now the EM10 and the Hisenior. The EM10 is the following graph that I'm going to show you now, which is this one. Let me take away here the Yanyin. EM10, very much the same situation of the Ultra. Great bass. I mean, the bass is very good. I mean, kind of, you could almost say that the trade blows. It's not really here. It's then in the way that the mids and upper mids and treble is done. On its own, the EM10 is phenomenal. It is really good, really well tuned. There's nothing that you can falter. Honestly, you can't. It's when you compare it to the Voltage that you see that the Voltage does everything that it does, and it steps up a notch or two. It does. It really does. It's just more matched correctly. You feel that the way that the drivers come together, it just sounds more polished. That's it. I mean, guys, I've said it countless times. The differences are not humongous. There are differences. They are noticeable. You will notice them under ideal conditions. It's not listening to them on a metro that you will listen to it. That you will, it's not listening to them on a bus or taking a walk outside that you're going to listen to these differences. You're not going to pick up on them. It's going to be very hard. When you listen to them under ideal conditions, a quiet room with a good source, you will pick up these differences. And then you are the one that has to decide whether these differences are enough to justify that the price disparity that exists. That's it. It's as simple as that. Okay. And then finally, the Hisenior. And the Hisenior, the Mega 5, 27. Okay. Number 27. There we go. That's the Mega 5 EST. And as I said earlier, the Mega 5 EST, the Mark III version, and the Voltage, they sound very, very similar. Trust me. I mean, in terms of the bass, it's really similar. One is a 10mm, the other one is 2.8, but they sound similar. You just have to look at the fact that how the area between 200 and 2.5K is done to see how similar they are. And then the interesting thing is, although you would, by looking at the graph, you would say that the EST, the Hisenior, will be more detailed in the upper mids and treble and so on and so forth. No, it's actually the other way around. The voltage is more detailed. You could argue, oh, but that's because it's got less bass, so it obviously makes it shine. That makes sense, that argument, until you listen to one and the other, and you actually see that the bass is it's equal. I honestly had a very hard time in separating the bass from one and the other. One time the Voltage came out in front, other time the Hisenior, the Voltage came out in front. So it's not so much the bass that's the deciding factor here. It's just somehow the way that the drivers have been matched, and that's, I think, the issue here. Obviously, one is a 1 + 2 + 2. The other one is a 1 + 4 + 4. 2 + 4 + 4. So driver numbers, I think, dictate here the fact that the drivers can work in a more laid back manner with still maintaining the same energy levels. I think of it this way: the same way as you have 2 8s, okay, working in that compound loaded isobaric type of thing, and you have there a single 10, and they sound the same. I think it's the same thing that happens here in the mids and treble, where you have 2 BAs on the one hand doing the work, and on the other hand you have 4 BAs doing it. So those 4 BAs can actually be working at a lower level individually to overall give a sound which comes across as being the same energy as the sound of the lower count BA IEM. And that's it. So I mean, they are very equal. Like I said, the mids is again the deciding factor, which by the graph on its own you wouldn't think by looking at the graphs that though that's the Hisenior is the superior IEM. No. Now granted, again, and as I said earlier, one is $600, not even $525 or something, and the other one is $1,200. Is there a justification for the price difference? You have to listen and you decide. It's as simple as that. You have to listen and decide. I think that the mids of the Voltage are just that little extra more detailed to make a good argument for it. In terms of accessories and so on, they're very identical. You need to then make that decision. And that's it, guys. If there's any other questions, please ask. I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible. And as always, like and subscribe. Let's help me get this channel really growing once and for all. I'm not one to beg or ask or anything of the sort, but if you guys truly enjoy what I'm doing, if you guys really enjoy what I'm doing and enjoy the effort and the work that I put, all I ask is that you just like, subscribe, and tell people about it. Just spread the word. I know that I'm not faultless. I have my issues, people have countless times told me, oh, but sometimes your voice and the recording and this and trust me, I do try and improve and so on, but I get so caught up in wanting to try and do my best in conveying a proper, fair assessment of what I'm listening to, that those things sometimes just left behind, and it's not on purpose. It's not by any means disrespect to those that follow me or anything of the sort. So just bear with me. I will definitely improve. And like I said, if you guys really appreciate what I do, just subscribe, tell people about me, because not wanting to disrespect anybody in particular, but there's a lot of reviewers which get a lot of positive vibes going their way, and honestly, I sometimes question how that is possible, because I look at what they do, and I have to ask seriously, how is it possible that they get the attention that they get, because it's that they say certain things which are extremely hard to swallow at times, extremely hard. Anyway, that's a little side rant of mine. Guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.